I didn't catch her cheating. I caught her smiling while telling me she'd already replaced me. And in that moment, I realized the betrayal wasn't the worst part. It was how confident she was that I was already history. If you've ever trusted the wrong person, if you've ever built a life with someone who quietly checked out, or if you've ever wondered what really happens after someone thinks they've won, you'll want to hear this before we go any further. If you've ever been blindsided in a relationship, if you've ever mistaken consistency for love, or if you believe stories about loyalty, consequences, and quiet strength matter, backhand index pointing right, hit subscribe, top like, and leave a comment. I read every single one. Now, let me tell you how this actually began. For most of my adult life, I believe consistency was love. Not fireworks, not dramatic gestures, not constant reassurance, just showing up. Every day. My name's Jack, and I was the guy who worked long hours without complaint, who planned weekends months in advance, who paid the bills on time, handled problems quietly, and never made noise about stress. I thought that was my role. I thought that was enough. My wife's name was Laura. She was beautiful, effortlessly so, sharp, articulate, magnetic when she wanted to be, the kind of person who could light up a room or freeze it out. For years, I believed we were solid. Not perfect, but steady. And when things started changing, I did what committed people do. I explained it away. It didn't happen all at once. It never does. It started with late nights that didn't line up, work events that ran long, but without details, a phone that never left her hand. She laughed more, just not with me. New clothes appeared in the closet. New routines replaced old ones. She started showering the moment she got home, and I noticed all of it. But every time my instincts nudged me, I shut them down. Marriages go through phases, I told myself. Don't be insecure. Don't be controlling. Don't overthink. So I stayed quiet, and silence became my contribution. The night it ended wasn't dramatic at first. It was a Tuesday. Ordinary. Forgettable. I walked in after a 12-hour shift, exhausted in that deep, bone-level way that only routine creates. Laura was sitting at the kitchen table. Hair done, makeup perfect, dressed like she had somewhere important to be. Not lounging, not relaxing, waiting. She looked up and said, "We need to talk." And something in her voice told me this wasn't a conversation. It was a notification. I didn't sit down. I didn't take my jacket off. She told me she'd been seeing someone for 4 months. 4 months. While I worked late, while I planned trips, while I asked about her day and actually listened. I asked who he was. She crossed her arms. It doesn't matter. She said he paid attention, that he made her feel wanted. Then she stood up, grabbed her purse, and said she was leaving that night. And I still didn't raise my voice. I just nodded. That's when she smiled. Not kindly, not nervously, but with something close to triumph. "Relax," she said. "He's honestly better than you ever were." That sentence rewrote everything I thought I knew about her. She expected a reaction. Tears, anger, begging. When none of that came, she looked offended. "You're not going to fight for this?" I told her the truth. "You made your choice months ago. I was just late getting the memo." She left with a bag and a promise to come back for the rest. I locked the door behind her and stood alone in a house that didn't feel empty, just exposed, like the illusion had finally been stripped away. The next morning, I called a lawyer. No teatrics. No revenge. Just facts. We rented. No kids. Clean break. By noon, I changed every password we'd ever shared. Not out of spite. Out of clarity. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Laura texted, called, left messages about talking like adults. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. 3 days later, her closest friend reached out. Megan. She'd always been the steady one. Honest. Direct. The kind of person who didn't sugarcoat hard truths. We met for coffee. She told me she'd suspected something was wrong months earlier. Patterns Laura laughed off. Stories that didn't add up. Then Megan looked me straight in the eye and said, "What she did to you is unforgivable." I wasn't looking for allies or revenge. I just wanted my footing back. But walking out of that cafe, I realized something. The marriage I'd been defending no longer existed. And for the first time since Laura walked out, I felt calm. Silence is louder than people think. The house didn't feel sad. It felt judged. I slept on my side of the bed out of habit, then got angry at myself for it. By the third night, I moved to the guest room and felt relief. I finalized the divorce faster than anyone expected. Laura tried to delay it, claimed she needed time. But abandonment doesn't come with a grace period. The law agreed that I needed somewhere to put the anger I wasn't expressing. So I went to the gym at 5 a.m. Not to impress anyone, not to prove anything, just to burn off the noise. I ran until my lungs protested, lifted until my arms shook. It wasn't punishment. It was control. Work noticed. My boss asked if I was okay. I said, going through changes. He nodded. That was enough. About a month later, I ran into Megan again. Grocery store parking lot. 2 carts. 1 awkward laugh. We talked for 20 minutes. No explaining. No justifying. She already knew. Weeks passed. The house changed. Less clutter. Fewer things that weren't mine. Each small decision felt like reclaiming territory. One evening, there was a knock. Hard. Uneven. Urgent. I looked through the peephole and froze. Laura. Crying. Mascara streaked. Hair pulled back badly. Clothes that looked borrowed. This wasn't the woman who'd walked out smiling. This was someone unraveling. I opened the door. Didn't invite her in. She asked if she could come inside. I stepped aside. She told me it was over with him. That he'd changed. That she'd lost her job. She talked fast. I gave her 10 minutes. She used them to beg. When she dropped to her knees, I felt nothing. That scared me more than anger ever could. I told her this wasn't a mistake. It was a series of deliberate choices. She cried harder. Said she missed me. Good, I said. That surprised us both. She accused me of enjoying this. I told her I was done caring about problems she created. That's when a voice came from the kitchen. Actually, he's doing great. Megan, standing there with 2 coffee mugs, wearing one of my old shirts. Laura's face collapsed. Confusion, recognition, humiliation. I told Laura the divorce was finalized. She hadn't known. She left furious. Door slammed. When the sound faded, Megan said, "The coffee was worth the interruption." I laughed. For the first time in weeks, the fallout didn't explode. It seeped. Missed calls, legal threats, rewrite attempts. None of it worked. Laura spiraled. Megan stayed steady. When Laura tried to poison that, it failed. Truth doesn't need defending. Months passed. Life stabilized. Work improved. Sleep returned. Trust, quietly, came back. Megan and I didn't rush labels. We built something honest. A year later, we married. Small ceremony. No performance. Just clarity. That night, Megan asked, "Do you ever think about her?" I answered honestly, only as proof that losing the wrong person can save you. Healing isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's choosing differently when no one's watching. It's realizing peace isn't boring. It's rare that if this story resonated with you, if you've lived any version of it, backend index pointing right, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Who do you think was right in this husband-wife debate? Your stories matter more than you know. And sometimes, the strongest closure is living well